smarty ants, which we won't talk about on your call, elementary teachers. We'll get a chance to talk about that. But I am super excited and delighted to be here with you today to help you to master, now that we're in the second year of implementation, to master your usage of Achieve 3000 on your campuses. Just a little bit about me so you know who is sharing with you today. Again, I'm Courtney Brown. Been an educator now for about 7 million years. It's not been that long, but I started off teaching in city of Baker schools, as a matter of fact, as a third grade teacher. So I've taught third and fourth, and then I moved on to EBR and I taught at Claiborne Elementary under Stephanie Tate and then Rochelle Anderson. So I'm very familiar with the district. And it was because of my work in the district that I went on to get my doctorate at LSU, and now I teach college courses as well as working for McGraw-Hill Achieve 3000. So this just gives me an opportunity to expand my horizons a little bit and be back in the district that I love, because I live here in East Baton Rouge. This is where I made myself, my son. We are home here, so I'm very invested in the lives of this community and in my own special way, right, helping our children to become more literate. So I'm very, very excited to have a chance to get a touch point with you all. Thank you to the ELA team. Some of them are on the call as well, giving me this opportunity to kind of talk directly with you about some of the bells and whistles of the program so that you can amp up both your quality and quantity of usage as we go forward. So a couple of things just in general about Achieve before I share my screen. So just to give you a disclaimer, what we're going to do today is just some work in the platform. I'm not going into a special PowerPoint or anything like that. I'm actually going to dig into the platform so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want to open up another browser or open up another computer so that you can kind of work along with me and see exactly what's going on as we navigate through, that would be great as well, because there's nothing like hands-on. So anyway, of course, Achieve is a digital platform. And the beauty of the program, of course, is that students take that first test, which everybody is taking now across the district, that level set, which gives them their just right reading level. And so articles that maybe through the tier one might be a little bit more difficult for them to read or to access that complex text, it all becomes a whole lot easier for them through Achieve because they're going to get it on their just right reading level, particularly with those scaffolds, if you have them in place as well for your students to kind of help them with read aloud and those kind of things if necessary. Now, what we are asking for from the district, I'm sure you've heard it on your campuses, but since I have a touch point with you, I want to make sure that I say it as well. We're looking for that 75% first try score. So that's quality of usage. It doesn't matter if they're doing 1,000 articles if they're not scoring that 75% first try score, because what's going to happen is that Lexile adjustment at the end of the month, instead of increasing, it will decrease. We want it to always be going up, right? So we want about 3 articles a week at that 75% first try score. And what that's going to give you by the end of first semester would be about 40 articles. By the end of the year, that's going to give you about 80. And so we saw pretty good growth across the district last year, and we want to continue to see that this year as well. So I am going to jump right in to the platform so that you can see some of the things that I'm talking about. And if at any point you have questions, I have another tab open so that I can keep watch of the chat and answer your questions there as well. All right. So the first thing, of course, I want to make you aware of is the several different types of lessons that are available to you. So I know that there are times that you don't have a whole lot of space within a class period to really dig into Achieve and spend 30, 45 minutes on an article. You don't always have that, right? So you can do several different types of articles. Certainly, we promote that 5-step because that's going to give you some writing, some reflection, all of that kind of stuff. But if you don't have time for that, I would recommend strongly also using the article plus activity. You have that option to you. You also have article plus discussion if you're doing something in your classroom and you just want to build some background knowledge. You can just select article plus discussion. It's going to give you the written text and then also some questions to provoke discussion with your students, and then also just an article. okay, that you can use to integrate into what you're doing with your students. Additionally, and this has been preached now over and over and over again, but I'm going to say it just for the sake of saying so, that you have all of these different content areas that are available to you. It is not just for English language arts. So if you're doing something with a science related theme, you can also search for those articles as well here, in addition to your social studies, which is very, very big. Everything that you could possibly think of is there. And then we added this a few years ago. There's a fiction tab. Now, in the days long ago, there was no fiction in Achieve 3000. It was only nonfiction because that was a huge thrust. But now we have that. Okay. And then Word Studio. So I want to start here with us today so that you can get an idea of what this is, how it works, how it will benefit you, because this is going to amp up your second year of usage in your classrooms this year. So of course, yeah, we've been assigning articles. We've been allowing children to have some our students to have choice in what they're doing as well. But Word Studio is a phenomenal gift already embedded within Achieve 3000 Literacy. A lot of people don't even know that this is here for them to use. So in secondary classes and also in elementary classes where you have students who are struggling with foundational skills and you don't always have time, right, to go back and teach students how to sound things out, or may not even be adept at doing those sorts of things. So Word Studio has this available to you within the platform in 3 different ways. You have phonics lessons that are available to students, okay? You have word analysis lessons that are available to students, morphology, prefixes, suffixes, all of that stuff is still important, even though we don't always teach it explicitly anymore because of the way our tier 1s are set up. All of this information is here. And then this third component was added on the 29th of August this year. Is brand new. It's reading comprehension. So now you're going to get a chance to hit all of those skills that you may not get a chance to teach explicitly all the time. So context clues, main idea, inferences, that's a big one, okay? Making predictions and previewing text. But I'm going to go back to this one to just kind of give you an idea. So if you have a student who is struggling in a particular area, you can just follow this particular scope and sequence lineup the way that it is listed here, okay, with your students. And the great thing about it is it teaches itself. All right, so I just pulled up our control vowels as an example for you and what you would do with your students. This blue assign button, you can assign it directly to the students. I'll click on that so you can see exactly what it is. You can give it to the whole class or to individual students. You get to set the dates and things like that when you want it to kick out to them. But I'll click on this one because this is an example. If you remember earlier, I mentioned different types of lessons you can do. And you can do article plus activity. This is an example of that instruction plus activity. So if I click on this one and open that up, what you'll see here is students get to watch a very short video. It's maybe about 4 to 5 minutes where the person on the video teaches the skill for them, okay? It teaches the skill for them. And it's grayed out here. And once they finish watching that, then they can go into reading the article on their Lexile level, on their Just Right reading level. All right. And then from there, what you end up having, students can cut and paste and drop things into notes. All right. The vocabulary is always going to change based on the Lexile level of the student. Right now, this is the demo account that I'm in, so mine is set to 980. Okay. And then all sorts of things in the teacher tabs that you can use. Instructions on the quick start guide, fluency practice, foundational literacy skills for you to use for secondary students, tip cards, and the great thing about all of this is it's printable. So even if you determined, based on the data that you've been looking at, either from a net, because I'm real big on triangulation, like that's very, very important, being able to see the same thing across multiple modalities. So if you're doing that, you wanted to pull a small group and say, for instance, you don't want them to work directly in the platform and you want to work with students on this particular thing, you can always print it out. Okay, any of this, anytime you see this printer icon, the information is printable and you can use it there. Okay, another dynamic, and this is true of all of the lessons that are in the platform as well. So if you were just in a regular lesson anyway, inside of your account, you are able to change the Lexile level. Okay, you can do that. Students can't do that. They're not able to change their Lexile levels. It's going to be whatever it is based on the way that they have been answering and asking questions. But for you, if you wanted to pull a small group and maybe post it on your smart board or some other type of device, you could do that for them and then work through it with all of your students based on how they are working together. You can look at the average Lexile level of the students in your classroom or in that group and work on it that way. So Word Studio most assuredly is a very good way to, again, hit those foundational skills with students who need a little bit more support. Because we all know from student to student, they're on different Lexile levels. They have different learning styles and types, and we want to be able to accommodate them. And this is one great way to do it. So again, just in review, you go to Word Studio. You can click on whichever one you want to use. And then you assign that to the student or to the whole class, whatever you determine you want to do. The same is true of all of these other particular themes and content areas as well. All right. So I'm going to go back to our main landing page so that you can see how I'm walking through this. All right. And I'm going to go to the hamburger menu because there are a whole lot of things hidden in there as well for us to use. So if I go here, okay, under plan and schedule. And this is probably where you spend a lot of time when you are assigning lessons and things like that. I can go to my lessons. And under my lessons, it's going to show me everything that automatically shoots out to students, in addition to things that I may be wanting to reschedule, manipulate, things of that nature as well. Okay.
Was there anything to sign in on?
So for example, Stage Fright Part 4. This episode is set to come out on the 26th. Okay. If ever, and this is something that's very important for us to know and integrate into our usage. If ever you wanted to change that date, remove it, not allow it to be seen on your students' pages, because this is just telling you calendar wise. I have mine set to month as to what's going to be shown to your students. If you didn't want them to see that, you don't want them to do that, then you can always remove it. Okay, you can take that off, or you can change the dates and say, hey, I don't want that to show on this date. And you just click that particular article. Okay, you can tell it remove. Okay, take it off. Right. And if you don't, you can leave it there for them to see. Another quick way to do that, just move it around. Just hold it and slide it to wherever you want it to go. And that makes for some differentiation per class, per student with the students that you are working with as well. So that's another way just to search and assign. But I want to go here. This is really why I wanted to show you today inside of collections. Okay. So a couple of things here. This will show you all of the sets of collections that will come out to your students, and you can assign them. You can also see here all sorts of lesson guides that are available, like everything that's going to be shown in the news section, okay, is listed there, their scope and sequence. All right. And then if we just scroll a little bit down, all right. And I already have mine clicked. As a matter of fact, I believe I had support to turn it on for everybody. We talked about this a little bit last year, and we really hit it hard somewhere around January, February, after having that principals meeting. You'll probably remember that, because when the principals got back from the meeting, they wanted everybody to start using these particular lessons. So if enabled, LEAP 2025 Prep Bootcamp lessons, and then SMART lessons as well. Okay, so these lessons have technology enhanced questions. It's going to give you, as you can see in the brief description here, all sorts of biographies, the 3 articles, open-ended questions. All of those things are available to you for your usage with your students. And right now, it's from my end, it's turned on for the entire district. So if you wanted to start incorporating those particular collections, even right now, you could. Okay, start using that with your students and giving them access to practice materials in that area. So Word Studio is already turned on as a collection. You don't have to worry about fiddling with that and trying to get it to work because it's already on. And then also your prep boot camp lessons as well. They are already turned on for students to use, and you can assign them or students can choose them because it's already enabled. It'll show up on their landing page as soon as they open up from there and from the student side. Now here's another really, really cute thing that you can use with your students that will be very, very helpful in integrating it a little bit more into what you're already doing inside of your classroom. So right here, you click Build Lesson Collection. All right. And when you click Build Lesson Collection, you can create your own and enable it for students. So say, for instance, you're working on generations as your topic with your students. And what you do is give your collection a name and a description, and then move in all of the articles that go along with that topic that you want students to see. It's basically the same thing I would do if I was creating alignments for you. It's the same thing that the company does when it puts together collections. You can do this yourself and you can customize it, but of course, a lot of people don't know that it's there. Then you set your dates, your parameters on dates for when you want it to start and open up, when you want it to close out, which days of the week you want it to show. It drills down even that specifically for you to give it to students. You save it to collections, save and assign, bingo, bango, it shows up on their landing page for them to use. And then you've created your own collection for students. All right, so I am going to do this really quickly because I do have some other things I want to show you, but I want to pause for the cause and check the chat. And give you an opportunity to ask some questions just about those things really quickly: content, searching and assigning, Word Studio, and then those collections. So I'm looking at the chat right now to see if anybody has questions in there. Before we move on. Okay, Dana says, Ms. Williams said you can come off mute for questions. Let's see, when you assign Word Studio, will students see it automatically? Yes. Yes, Ms. Johnson. So as soon as you assign it, it should show on their landing pages. And they'll also get a message inside of their inbox because students have access to their mailboxes as well. Great question. Let's see, checking again, how do I assign to all of my classes at one time? All right, so here, let's just pick an article. All right, so she's asking how she can assign to all classes at one time. Let me go in and see if I can pick one. Let's do InstaShams, assign to the class, schedule, and it should give me the option, hold on, to select the classes. We may have to do them one at a time. You have multiple preps is what you're saying, Ms. Flowers?
Yes, I have multiple
Okay.
classes, and so I would like to assign to like 6 different classes at one time instead of having to go into each class and assign.
I am thinking that you may have to, because that's the way you've been doing it, assign it to all of them.
No, I've been going in assigning individual classes.
Okay.
And
I
so
think
I
that
would like
is,
to assign it to everyone at the same time.
gotcha, because that would cut down on time quite a bit. I do believe you'd have to do that unless all of your classes are listed like this. You see the way that those are on mine, like I have all of mine are listed at the top.
They are, all of mine are
Mhm.
listed.
Okay. Go back here for just a sec. Because to my knowledge, you have to do that here. So this would be the way. Okay, so in my demo, my classes, all of them don't show up there, but when I click here, all of them show up. So what I'm thinking you'll have to do, Miss Flowers, you go in to where it appears on your schedule, like mine is set to month.
Okay.
And you see right where it says underneath class English period 5 is the one that it's assigned to now. Then it gives you
Right.
the option other classes with this lesson assigned. Like you click on that, it's
Mhm.
already assigned to all of mine, and then select all of the classes there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And that's just an easier workaround because I understand what you're saying. If you want all of them to do it, going one by one takes way too much time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Of course. So let's see. Adrian, all for some of my students were wondering my Lexile scores. They have milestones, bragging rights. Is this something we can have access to? Yes, 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 yes. You have access to it. You have access to all of their Lexile levels, and so do they. It tracks at the bottom of their page, and I will show you really quickly where you can see it as well. Okay, so here for teachers, not for admin, not for district level, you have this sprocket right here at the top of your page. You can click right on there. It's called the Teacher Data Dashboard, and very quickly, if you go into class overview, this is the quick workaround instead of going into reports because you will be all day trying to get to that. All right, I clicked on class overview and then all of my students come up and then all of their scores. It's a demo, so I don't have any data here, but you would. And you can look by class and by students and you'll see all of their milestones and where they've grown and where they started, where they are now. That's the quickest way to get to it. All right, let's see. Jennifer says, so if you're assigning 3 assignments a week and the student scores less than 75% on all 3, it not only decreases their Lexile, but the class as a whole. No. It does not decrease the class.
Before you leave today, please make sure you sign out with Ms. Smith before you leave.
I was just waiting for the announcement to be over. It doesn't decrease the entire class, Ms. Ross. It's only going to decrease the Lexile level of that student and their the way that their articles send to them. And then if you have a class average, then of course, yeah, if that student decreased, then it would bring them down. But it's not going to change their articles or what's going on to them. That's done individually. All right, let's see. But can teachers take the Lexile test? I'm sure if we give you a demo code, Ms. Alford, you could take the Lexile yourself and see, where it is. I'll make sure to give you my email before we leave. I'll drop it in the chat, and that way we can get you a demo so you can take it as well. All right, let's see. My school does not have Chromebooks for the students to use every day. Is Achieve 3000 required? Yes, it is. It was bought district wide, so I need to know what school you were at, and then we can kind of work out, I guess, with the English team and social studies team to see exactly what we need to do. Of course, Adrian says thank you. Any other questions? Those are great questions for the good of all. That's awesome. All right. Well, if you do have continuous questions, keep dropping them in the chat. I'll just check periodically. I'll be monitoring to see. But I do want to show you another feature that you have that I think you're really, really going to like. So I like this feature because I think students still need these soft skills. And it's going to be one of the things that between the Department of Academics and Department of Literacy that we're really going to integrate and push this year. So we kind of tipped on Word Studio last year, but this year, look at this. Under Student Centers, there's something called the Writing Center. A lot of people don't know that this is here or have not even had time to approach it, to go through it, to see exactly what it has to offer. But I want to show you some of the features today so that you can begin using this, assigning lessons through it. It kind of works itself, honestly. So this is another one of those things that will support the level of skills with your students to help them to become more proficient writers. So the truth of the matter is, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I saw it in secondary. I see it in my college students still yet. There are still mistakes in areas with prefixes and suffixes and plurals. The difference between plurals and possessives, you'd be surprised how many students just put an S and they don't understand the difference between the two. But the Writing Center inside of Achieve 3000 is going to hit a lot of those skills for you without a whole lot of additional work from you, okay?
Dr. Brown, hold on. You're muted.
Okay, am I back up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got you. So you have lots and lots of different types of writing. Research shows us that the best way to teach writing is using the writing process, but we don't have time a lot of times to go through all of those steps of brainstorming and then after writing, then writing again, and then editing and revising and all of those kind of things. But this will give you space to assign certain things to your students to help them to get it done as well. So you have expository essays here, compare and contrast, descriptive and persuasive. And I'm just going to go into this one so that you can see what this looks like. So look at here, Lady Gaga and Starving Marvin. It's going to go through the steps with them. Okay. There is a rubric. Let me also put this in so that you know that rubric looks nothing like the state of Louisiana rubric. Okay, we're trying to figure out a workaround to that so students will get exposed to that particular rubric through Achieve as well. But here, they get the writing assignment, the directions are all here, all right, and the rubric is there. And then if you wanted to assign the article or add it to a particular unit, you get that option. And it is also printable. So students get an opportunity to see hard copies if that's what they need. Because we want to make sure that those things are available too. But look at all of the different things that are just available when we talk about the writing process and how to push it. I'm telling you, you can assign it directly from here. So you don't have to go into that loop around that I showed you earlier where you're going in and you're looking at all of the lessons that are already there and that kind of thing. You can assign right from here, okay? And then there are graphic organizers to assist. And then look at this, letter writing. So we don't do a whole lot of this anymore because we're texters and we email a lot, but this is going to go through the steps of writing a formal letter or a business letter, right? Friendly letter, op-eds, letter to the editor. All of that stuff is included in here, things that you do not get a chance to do on a day-to-day basis with your students, right? And then here, very, very important. This is what I was speaking of earlier. The whole idea of mechanics, which I think is still very, very important. Okay, parts of speech that matters. And so here, common nouns and plural nouns and the difference between concrete and abstract nouns, you know, all of that here. Here's the plural. This is what I was talking about earlier, adding an es or an s or whatever. And then irregular plural nouns, very important as well. Okay, all of that is available to you and you don't even know it's there. It's inside of Achieve 3000. And then you have some work with writing fluency, subject area prompts. And this is a part that a lot of people are very, very interested in because there is some timed writing for them to practice with as well. Okay. And then a writing helper. And these are just all extras that you can add in to what you're already doing with students. And again, depending on, for example, if you wanted to do something whole group or small group of your students and you check here back into the teacher data dashboard where we looked earlier, and you can see what the average Lexile level is for your students, you could actually change that Lexile level and print out a lesson or post it however you desire you want to do it for your students. All right, and give them the opportunity to do it all at one time instead of assigning separately. Those are all ways to get this done. Okay, so the Writing Center is super, super, super helpful in assisting students in covering those mechanics and soft skills, things that you don't have a chance to explicitly teach within the classroom. Wanted to make sure that I showed you that. All right. And then I'm going to show you the Career Center as well. And then I'm going to give you some time to work and to ask questions because that works very, very well. All right, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have ever used the Career Center, if you kind of ran into it last year by accident, maybe. Yeah, good. So Juan, yes. Anybody else? Okay, Wendy has used it before. Great, 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 great. That's awesome. All right, so some of us have seen it before, and that's good. But some of us have not. So I want to show you a good bit here. All right, so the way that this works, and it tracks for students the entire time that they are using Achieve 3000. Okay, so I went through the hamburger menu into Career Center. And since we are educators here, let's go to education and training. And say, for instance, I want to be, let's be an administrator, post-secondary. Okay, so I select that, and it's got every possible career in the world. You find the career there. All right. And then based on where my current Lexile is, it will tell me how far I need to go. And then it makes that tangible connection for students between what this Lexile means, which is such an elusive term, to something that we can really nail down and say, okay, this is what this means as it relates to where I'm going in my life. And so I'll get all the educational requirements that it would take for me to do that, what's preferred for those positions. And then I have the opportunity to look there. Okay. And so it is one of the coolest features inside of the platform for students to use and to grow as well. All right. And then it also gives you the Holland codes and things like that for students to track their development inside of the platform. So just wanted to make you aware of that for those who have not seen it before. Let me check here because I did see I had a couple of questions. All right. How did I get to class overview? Okay, so Mary, this is where I went right here at the top of the screen. So from the teacher's view, you can click right here. And next to dashboard, which gives me all overall data, I just click class overview. And then it pulls up everything from there.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Dana, some participants are asking for the link to the sign-in.
Yes, ma'am. I'll place it in at the
It's
end
all
of your session.
cool. Awesome, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna open again for questions. We're right at 1:08, almost 1:10, and I think we have until 1:35. So I want to give you an opportunity to ask your questions in addition to digging into the platform. So considering everything that we've done, I'd like you to open up now another tab, if you can, on your browser. Just open up another tab, log in through Clever to Achieve in your account, and then go through searching and assigning, look at the Writing Center, look at Word Studio, those kind of things. Go ahead and start, assigning articles and seeing if you're able to do those things. If you have any questions while I'm still on the call with you, so that I can answer those and kind of work out any bugs there. And then if we have a moment at the end, I'll go through some of these reports for you as well. So let's give us, what do you think, Dana? Maybe about 15 minutes to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to put up a timer and I'll go on mute. Still drop your questions in the chat. Ms. Jenkins, I see your question. Yes, there is a way to just assign to certain classes, the same way that we did earlier. You go in to achieve here, depending on like which class or which article it is. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my lesson so we can look at the scheduler. All right, so Teens Company Cleans Up, for example. If you only wanted that to go to English period 5, you can assign it that way. You just change your start and end date, and then it says check for other classes. Right now, I have those assigned to others. They would come up for you right underneath there. And you just pick the one that you wanted to do. You don't have to give it to everybody. And if it was an article per se on the front page that you wanted to look at and then assign, like this one, Swing and Miss, same thing. I can assign it either to the class or to individual students. Right now, mine is set to this English period 5. That's okay, no problem. No problem. Let's see. Very good. Thank you, Robert, for sharing that. So let me ask you this, because this may be good for all to hear. So after you downloaded the rubric and you shared it with your students, are you still using the rubric within Achieve to Grade and then just making a correlation, or how are you working on that for your particular students? You can come off and mute and tell us. You don't have to write it in the chat because everybody's still kind of working.
Are you there?
Yeah, we all can hear you.
Okay, I simply created a link and I attach it to a daily agenda that I give my kids. So it's at their fingertips, and we use that in conjunction with Achieve. But we use that as the main target.
Right. And I think that that's so important. I wish there was some way we could actually, have that available within the platform. So that it was already there. Somebody sharing a whiteboard?
Excuse me. If you don't mind, would you go over how to assign a lesson?
Dr. Brown, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay, so a couple of ways that you can assign a lesson. Let me share my screen again so that you can see. All right, you can assign directly from the platform. So I have some things saved to my favorites already. So all you would do, anytime you see this little blue assign button, you click on it. You can tell it assign to whichever class you desire and set the dates for it to schedule. Another way to do it there, let me show you this as well. You can assign to individual students. So say, for instance, you didn't want everybody in that class to get it. You only want Xander to get the assignment. So you just click on the name and then assign it from there. So that's one way you can assign directly from the article. Even if that article is already assigned for a particular date, I'll show you that as well. So here, this is set to come out on the 19th, or it came out already. What I want to do, I don't want it to come out on that date. I want my students to see it on another date. Okay, so all you have to do is click on that and reassign, give it a date. So that's one way. Those are two ways that you can do it. Here's the other way. You go in here through the hamburger menu, all the way to the left-hand side of your screen, go to My Lessons. It's going to pull up everything that's there, okay? Everything that possibly would kick out to students, all the articles that are available. If you wanted to search for more, you just click on this, and then it's going to give you all of these advanced options you may or may not be interested in, but you can search for particular articles And the same way that we assigned on the other page, it'll give you the same workaround and options there. So that's another way that you can do it as well.
Thank you.
Of course. Of course. So let's see, how do I sign in? Let's see, Zeno, are you able to get in through Clever? Because I see, it looks like you're trying to get in using your email address and things like that, but you should be able to log in single site log on through Clever. That's usually the way that we get in. So definitely let me know if you can't, because I can send it over to support for you. These are great questions. We have about 5 minutes left for you to peruse. And as you're looking through and digging in, please, please let me know what questions you have. When I try to use Clever, it does the same thing. Okay, so let me put my email address in. All right, send me an email with like your school site, and I'll have your email address so that I can get that over to support to get it fixed for you. Should be an easy fix. Any other questions?
Dr. Brown,
Mhm.
I have 2 students that have not taken the level set. By me having 2 that haven't completed it, is that preventing something else from happening?
No, it's
Okay.
preventing them from being just those 2 students.
Yes.
It's only preventing them from getting articles on their
Okay.
level.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Of course. Yeah, they can't do anything else until they take that test. But the rest of your students should be rocking and rolling.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Let's see, you said assignments from the Writing Center are auto-graded. Those are teacher-graded. But you can assign them directly from the platform. You're welcome. Any questions about Word Studio? Have you had a chance to look at that?
If you don't mind, show us how to get back there to Word Studio.
You got it. You got it. All right, back over here. You see it on the top line? So where all your content areas are, Word Studio should appear as well.
Just one moment.
Sure thing.
No, ma'am, I don't see it.
All right.
So do I need to click something first?
No, are you on the landing page for yours?
Yes, I have the hamburger and then achieve 3,000 literacy.
Okay.
Then
And
English, then 8th grade. Then my name and my classes, the search bar, the little home, the student performance data icon, the mail, bell, the A, the book with the apple, and my name.
All right. And then underneath there, do you see the content areas at all?
No, I see dashboard and class overview.
Okay. All right. And what grade level?
8th grade.
8th grade. So it should be there. Another way you can get to it, a workaround for you underneath, are you seeing next to standards, do you see this information where it says lesson details on your screen?
I don't see standards at all, and I don't see the hamburger with the dots.
This is good to know. All right, so email me because you should be able to see all of this stuff on your line as well. That way you can get to it, because the other workaround would be to use lesson details and then click article and activity, and then you can get to it that way. So
Okay.
your visual is completely different from what it should be. So shoot me an email so that I can take care of that as well.
I will. And you're C. Brown at EBR Schools?
No, actually, I'm Courtney.brown@mheducation.com. So, but it's in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I have some questions in the chat. We're about at a minute, so I'm going to start plugging away at these questions to make sure we don't run out of time, if that's okay with you guys. All right, so let's see. How many articles do the students have to complete before they can take a new level set test? Janice, actually the way that works, they don't have to do a certain amount of articles before they take a new one. We're going to do one at midterm. At the middle of the year. I think those dates are in January. There's a window for that, and then we're going to do a post year. So it will automatically disseminate to students at that time. All right, and then let's see. Michelle says, I have juniors and seniors. Many have indicated that they did not take the level. Yes, Michelle. So if you would send me the names of those students, we can get that reset for them. That would be awesome. All right, and then Carolyn, also, if you would send me an email to that effect to ensure that I can, check your account, see what's going on with that. And if it's beyond me, it's going to support so we can get that fixed. So I definitely want you to be able to get to Word Studio. It's really, really useful for your students. Any other questions? You're welcome, Mary, for sure. For sure. All right, so your sign-in code just dropped. There's a bit.ly there for you. All right, really quickly, I did show you this before, and then it should be right on top of time for us to go. It's 1:25 now, and our session is over at 1:35, but here, of course, shows you the teacher data dashboard. That's your quick workaround. This is important because you can get to data very easily if you need it to, say, for instance, bring it to PLC or talk with a student or anything like that. This is going to give you all your average information first. And then when you dig into the class overview, you can look at every class, every student, and then what it's going to give you will be a bunch of sprockets here that you can click in real time to see exactly what articles students are using, okay? But this is the other way to get to it. This one is a little bit of a rabbit hole, but if you wanted to know where the rest of your reports are, you go under your name, click reports. Okay, and then when you click reports, there are several different ones. So for those of you who want to see like where that writing is, how students did, what you need to grade, those kind of things, you click here and go to written responses. So that information is there. Somebody asked earlier, I think in the chat, about being able to see how students are progressing, points, achievement, all of that is here for you. And then this is really where you want to be within the performance reports and the assessment tools. But your performance reports, the main one here is the second one. I reference this all the time. It's how has Lexile reading measure performance changed over time? What that's going to give you is every student and every class and every Lexile for every month. Okay, and everything inside of it is hyperlinked. That way you can see exactly what the students are doing per activity, how much time they spent on it. All of that is available to you within this report. So this one is one that you'll pull a lot. Okay, how has Lexile reading measure changed over time? And the way that I got to that again, you go under your name, reports, it's all going to come up for you, and you just pull it there. All right, when you click on it, it'll give you some filters, things like that, that you can set if you only want a certain date range. It's very specific to what you need. Okay, and I won't dig into the other reports on this call. We'll do another call at some point to just disaggregate data, look at data, what it means, and how you can assign specific small groups and things from there. Okay, but I definitely wanted to point out to you where it was. We are right at this point, 1:28. Not sure if you have to get to others.
You're muted, Dr. Brown.
Not sure how that keeps happening. I'll be here to answer any additional questions that you have. Not sure, like I said, if you have to get to any other sessions beyond that. Our session ends at 1:35, this particular one, but you have my email if you have any other questions. Again, feel free to drop things in the chat because I'm still here to answer them. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me today. I'm so excited to have had this touch point with you. And I hope that this was helpful, even in, the little nuggets that we were able to get through to help you to ramp up and master even more of your access and accessibility to achieve 3,000 literacy. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
But of
The
course-
Bitly is not working.
Dr. Brown, thank you so much.
You are
Greatly
welcome so much.
appreciate you. For everyone who's still on, the Reflection Now should be able to accommodate you if you've already attended a session. We went on and fixed that, so you should be able to sign. And this session is called Achieve a Mastering a Platform. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Brown, you good for your next
What did you say the name of this session is again?
Achieve Mastering the Platform.
I didn't see that. Okay, Achieve Mastering the Platform. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna be okay. The next one, I gotta watch this mute button. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to.
No, I was muting, like as participants was unmuting themselves or they came in and unmute, I was muting them. And it just so happened, I think I muted you as well in the process.
It happened when you wasn't at your computer, so it's just.
Okay, I was like,
So
what am I doing?
I don't know what's going on. And you'll probably have to watch that admit button as well too.
Okay.
Most team members on here, if they see it, they admit other people in. But the link now should be working. I'll jump in so that I can make sure that I'm sending you that information as well. I'll probably send it to you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was trying to sign in. So I just put chat. Thank you, Marita Oliver.
You have to use the let me add the link for you to sign in because they fixed it for you. So here's your sign in. So you have to copy it and then paste it in your browser.
All right here.
Okay. And then you'll be able to sign in. All right, Dr. Brown, you might want to take that sign-in sheet and copy it for yourself. So when you're in your next session, you'll be able to submit that out for the teachers.
Okay, so it's already in the chat. Let me copy this and put it somewhere. And I'm gonna forward the link to Martina so she can jump in and help me monitor as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Trent Manning, and I am having a hard time finding Jefferson Terrace Academy on the sign-in. I'm not at work right now. I'm sick for the next couple of days.
Let's see.
Was I in the right one?
Let me see what's. Hold on. Let me see if they're on here.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It says Jefferson Terrace right under Howell.
Oh, I see it. I see it now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No problem.
Is the second Bitly working?
I think it's the same one. It's the same link. I just copied and pasted it. Oh, one of them you have to copy, and the other one you should have to just click on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they both work.
Good deal. So the next one is elementary, which means I'm gonna have to do Smarty Ants and.
Remember, you have two different sessions. Oh, let me stop recording. Hold on.
Gotcha.
Chisholm.